Dr. Amit Gupta, first things first, before I get to the politicians, why ask for the cancellation of the entire exam? There were only 6 centers that were impacted. There were 1,600 students who were given grace marks, but do remember that 24 lakh students had actually written the exam. Now, to pull them through this entire circle of cancelling the results and holding the exams again, is that fair when the government of India and the Education Ministry has already said we have put a mechanism in place to ensure that, no rightful candidate is left out of the system?
See, the point is, we are not saying that exam should be quashed, but yes, cheaters have to be weeded out, because there are two issues here. One is the paper leak issue, and other is the grace mark issue, and both issues have actually mixed up and complicated the things, and the cutoff is actually inflated, and we are still not sure whether this inflation is due to only grace marks or is it due to the alleged leak of the question paper also. Now, in case it is due to alleged leak, then obviously this particular thing, the demand for quashing the entire exam, this should be the last resort, which is what we believe. Even in 2015, the only time in the history of pre-medical entrance when the exam was quashed and reconducted, I was a part of that allegation. I actually spearheaded that, and we were managed to cancel the exam because all other resorts, whatever we could have tried to weed out the cheaters, they actually failed. So eventually the honorable judge says that if cheaters cannot be weeded out, then there is no, the sanctity of the exam is breached. Now it is for the investigative agencies to find out whether the sanctity of exam is actually breached. If it is breached, then there is no option but to quash the exam, because it's a competitive exam. It's an exam which of elimination. So obviously, if even a few cheaters are able to get inside, then this will impact the entire system and the entire mechanism. So this is one issue. Other issue is that
Dr. Amit Gupta, but you are constantly saying cheaters. Dr. Amit Gupta, 1 minute, a follow-up question, and then you can conclude your point. Dr. Amit Gupta, the fact is NTA, that's the National Testing Agency, very clearly on record is saying there has been no paper leak. So आप जो cheating की बात कर रहे हैं, NTA has come out and denied it.
See. Obviously, NTA will deny it. The same thing happened 2015. The conducting body, that is CBSE, they continued to deny it. But eventually, it was found out that the sanctity has been breached. So they are taking their stand. We are taking our stand. It is for the honorable court to decide that who is correct. So we are saying it is an alleged leak. And there are enough evidences to continue the investigation and find out whether really the sanctity has been breached. And I am only saying that if there are cheaters in the merit list, if. So obviously, I am not alleging that cheaters have actually penetrated in, but if there are, then the sanctity is breached. So that is our point, and we also don't want the exam to be quashed if the sanctity is not breached. Because there is another aspect also.
The other point you were making about inflated marks.
It will be really torturous for them to, Yeah. So, as the NTA DG has told that 1,583, approximately 1,600 students were awarded grace marks on the basis of a formula which was derived from a CLAT exam. Which was derived from a CLAT exam, which was an online exam with a smaller sample size. NEET has a size of 26 lakh students. So it was clearly mentioned in the judgment that this judgment is not applicable for engineering and medical entrance exam. Yet the NTA applied that judgment and that numerical formula to give grace marks. Now this is not in accordance with the law. Second, because of this, there has been such an inflation that we really doubt that are there only 1,600 students which are being awarded grace marks, because the inflation is too much to digest. Had there been only 1,600 students who are the beneficiaries, the ranks would not have, inflated to 25,000, 30,000 back. So this raises the doubt that that might be a paper leak. Or the NTA is not giving us transparency. Ma'am, there are FIRs in Patna and Gujarat where the investigating officers, the police officers, have clearly mentioned that the sanctity of the exam has been breached. It is there in the FIR. So now why would a police officer write such a remark? So that is a valid reason to hold an inquiry, a high level inquiry into the matter. And so this is one of the reasons, and many students have traveled from the far east to Godhra and filled it as a center. And that particular center is suspected that they have actually, it has been managed. So there are ample evidences within the investigating authorities, and they are investigating the matter. When the matter is under investigation of the police, how can NTA give a clean sheet to itself with an internal inquiry? Doesn't make sense. The inquiry has to be external and has to be headed. And one more thing I would like to add, that this idea of NEETs, one of my panelists is actually questioning the NEET. I would say that cutting across all political parties, there are stakeholders in private medical colleges, and NEET was actually brought to curtail these backdoor entries. So I still feel that NEET is a good idea, but the execution is not perfect. If we can execute it perfectly, then things can improve.
Okay.
So this is what I feel about